My name is Art Sherwood. I am the director of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation programs at Western Washington University. And I'm also the Cole Professor of Entrepreneurship. And so my role is to help lead and guide the entrepreneurship and innovation effort for Western Washington University, both for on-campus and off-campus, as well as to really provide thought leadership around things that we really think are critical with change leadership for entrepreneurs and innovators, again, on campus and off.
Awesome. Ida, why don't we go with an intro of you next?
Sure. My name is Ida Cardona. I am the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Academic Program Assistant. I help support the academic program within the classroom and without by spearheading the initiative for the culture of belonging to help foster diversity, equity, and inclusion within the program and within the campus community and community at large.
Awesome. Serafima.
Hi, I'm Serafima Healy, and I'm a fellow with the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, which means I completed the program and now get to work directly with students, like helping design workshops and facilitate learning through that. And it's a really cool way to give back.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm Meg Weber, the lead instructor in the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, and also leading our launching of our executive programs.
What I'm really looking forward to this time is leveraging all of our technology and watching it actually come together. I really valued how previously our community used Zoom a lot, but we hadn't really harnessed it, or I personally had a hard time visualizing how we would use it. And now I'm so grateful for that foundation that was laid, because it's so changed. It makes it so much easier to have these conversations right when you need them. You don't have to wait, schedule a day. And then by then the spark is gone and you're I'm just trying to make things happen right now.
Awesome. How about for you, Ida? What's this season looking like?
It's looking surprisingly more inclusion and more engagement than I had felt even in the classroom. We have the capacity to do breakout rooms and have this really quiet and focused space for us to engage with one another, and to see that when we come back into a main room in Zoom ripple out, and that engagement and that excitement to share out continue. Awesome, as well as having to communicate with one another in this face-to-face sort of form, and as well through the chat to connect with one another on lighter notes too.
Awesome. And how about for you, Dr. S?
For me, I'm just really appreciating that our community had such a strong connection that flowed into this very unusual quarter, and that we had made some really important investments in building that community that allowed us to do a quick conversion at the end of last quarter to an online space. And then all of the students who are involved were able to walk into this virtual setting knowing everybody, and we're able to perpetuate that community in a time of massive isolation. And so it's just super exciting that our community was able to provide a place for students to be, no matter where they are in the world, to be able to come in, and they know they're going to be connected to people that they know, they trust, and are able to learn. And we were able to welcome in new people as well. And I'm just super excited about the visioning processes that we're going through to really say, how might we really build a culture of belonging, not just in our current entrepreneurship and innovation community, but across campus, to where people are able to engage and access what we have, to be able to broaden that out into the community, to offer those opportunities to engage with community members, and then even really start to build on the foundation that we have for our regional, national, global sort of nourishing network for our students, our faculty, our staff, and our community members. So it's just a really super exciting time for us. And with investments in all those areas, I could see significant scaling up of our impact with all of those really important stakeholders.
That's awesome. Let's go around and talk about a particular instance that we've seen recently of how connection and innovation and entrepreneurship have happened within our community. Serafima, you recently made an amazing thing that we sent out to students, and I wonder if you might share about that.
Yeah. So going into this like digital time and not really having like a physical thing to hold on to, something that we commonly use in our program is like sticky notes, and we're always hands-on. So we created this little handbook so that students could have it with them. Yeah, there it is. And the front page is like an intentional coloring book. Yay! And there's different journal prompts, and they're all based around our curriculum points. So it's just a way for students to kind of self-reflect and work on developing themselves as people, and then how do those identities influence them in their entrepreneurial journey.
Cool, thank you. And Ida, you've been working on a digital way to connect our students deeply with each other and their voice. Would you share about that?
Yeah, my pleasure. So this quarter, we have started really leaning into Western's access for students to WordPress. And so through that, we have oriented all of the students this quarter to create their own blogs. And so they're connecting their learning through the classroom, through what we call traction journals, and connecting and engaging with one another through reading each other's blog posts and commenting on each other's blog posts. Just as well, we were able to take all of their web links and additional information, headshots and whatnot, and compile a student profiles page on the Entrepreneurship and Innovation website, so that there's this like really fun and engaging space for us to all check out each other's ventures, check out each other's passions, where we're at in our projects and in life in general, and ultimately just offers a great space for us to get to know one another and deepen our connection within the community.
Awesome, thank you. So you both have gone through our facilitative leadership program, the classes, and help to foster and connect through our workshops and just all the different ways that you do things in the world. And as a program assistant, and Serafima, for you as a fellow and scholarship recipient, would you both share a little bit about what the facilitative leadership program has meant to you and what your building and development of your leadership skills have looked like? So Ida, why don't we start with you this time?
Absolutely. I love facilitative leadership. The first time I had taken that class, it really just blew the doors open in terms of the different ways that we can incorporate really subtle structures into group settings to facilitate massive engagement. We use concepts around design thinking as well as liberating structures to invite students to think critically about the ideas that we bring forward, and to have these have these ideas in place internally and ready to share without, to evoke and innovate ideas around some really what we call like wicked problems, and through that inspire curiosity and continued exploration of these concepts in ways that normally would seem not as exciting or as fun as they end up being. So I really appreciate that, and how I'm able to bring that into my other circles and my other communities as well.
Awesome, thank you. And Serafima, I know that you have so much strength and passion around how to help to incubate creativity and reflection, through journaling, through music, other things. Could you talk about how this student leadership opportunity and facilitative leadership has sort of come around the beautiful skills and abilities and passions that you have?
Definitely. I think that facilitative leadership should be a required class for anyone. Anytime that I do like a group project or collaborate with people who are not, don't have our entrepreneurial background, it's like pulling teeth compared to like the smoke, the smooth flow of what's able to happen when people have these facilitative leadership tools. Um, but yes, particularly like seeing it, the power I think I see it in my life is seeing it implemented in ways that aren't in the classroom. For example, like in my band, in my friend group, in my other jobs, um, and people aren't resistant to it because they know that it's a helpful thing. And like when we use it all together, people often refer back to it like, oh my gosh, like what was that one thing we did? Like let's do that. And it just like makes everything so much easier to do and work together.
Great. Thank you. Art, would you share with us what facilitative leadership is, the genesis of that idea, and how we've built out that curriculum, and why it matters to entrepreneurs and innovators?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was just all about, saying to ourselves, imagine what it would be like if we truly empowered people to be creative and collaborative together, and moved away from this myth of the hero entrepreneur, the hero innovator, the person who's just by themselves and does the whole thing by themselves, which really is never true, and got to the space where everyone truly could be included and everyone could truly have this ability to participate in a way that's intentionally designed to really bring out the best in everybody in the room, whether it be their wisdom, their creativity, their experience, their diversity, and to do that through this set of approaches that anyone can learn. And once you start to learn them and you start to practice them, and it starts to become a natural way of being. And then not only just like I heard from both from Ida and Serafima, the idea of being able to not only have it happen in the instance in class or where we're teaching it, but to have the ripple effect of that going into our personal lives, into our friend groups, into our other businesses, into our other communities that we engage with, then all of a sudden we're starting to have exponential impact on the world. And if we're sending out, 100 students a year into the world that have learned this, and they spend the next 70 years of their life doing this work with other people and teaching other people how to do this, our life has really, really made an impact by just what we did here in Bellingham, Washington.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard you point to, we seek to be really intentional in our teaching in putting methods in place that people can apply and understand and do over and over again. So there's magic in what we do together in the room, and we seek to really put tools in place that people can master and apply and be good at any point. So, one of the terms that we use in the program, which is yours, Dr. S, is what are those bread and butter things that everybody can feel fully confident in and apply? And so that's really a principle of the 6-level classroom for us. And then the fellowship program afterwards is like, how can you feel fully confident at each level in building more and more skill? So that's been just a super important thing for us, I think, in offering, our facilitative leadership and the way that we build the E&I program, Entrepreneurship and Innovation program, is that people become more and more confident and more diverse in how they're applying the different tools that are available to them.
Yeah, and I mean, what I love about the facilitative leadership evolution as well has been, we started that because we needed more people in our program to have this set of tools and this set of skills so that it could actually happen in the classroom. And what I love that has happened is and I love unexpected impact. Like the ripple effect is much larger than I ever expected it to be. The ability to pass it along and have other people teach it is much more powerful than I ever expected it to be. And now that we're starting to be able to open it up not only to our own students that are already enrolled in the program, but other students and community members as well, it's just really super exciting to see where all of this is going to go. And not only that, the experiment that we had with facilitative leadership has led us to run to other experiments within our intellectual property class, with our entrepreneurial leadership and innovation certificate courses that we're going to be doing next year. I mean, the amount of scaling up of our access points and impact is just really starting to accelerate, which is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Do you two, Ida or Seraphima, do you have anything to join in on that?
Do you want to go for it, Ida?
Yeah, I'm really just like grateful, and the level of like enthusiasm and engagement that comes from facilitative leadership, the level of inspiration that comes from facilitative leadership to bring that without and implement it in our other circles, our other communities, just like Seraphima said, you know, leading groups of friends at like you know, a house meeting or a workshop, or what am I saying here, with like in the different jobs and different work communities and things like that, really offers a sort of lightness while digging into these areas that can be really challenging to explore. And I think with that, it also inspires others who see that, like Seraphima said, to implement that, and that ripple effect just grows and grows. It's just really rad.
Yeah, I totally hear that, Ida. Especially, I think like what stands out to me so much about facilitative leadership is that the point is not like, oh, look at me, like I have all these leadership tools, like I can make all these great things happen. But it's really all about like, how do we work together to make this happen? And just because someone happens to know it, the structures don't make it so that that person is all of a sudden like some all-knowing person. The point, I feel like, is to make all of this successful for people. So that's what I really like about it, and seeing it implemented those ways. It's not a weird power thing. It's just how do we make people better?
It's power together, right? You know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Would you also be willing to speak to your role as student leaders? So we're looking to expand in our, Give Day, and in the opportunities going forward. We're really looking to expand the opportunities for student leaders in our program. And in particular, we have such great student leadership always, but in particular, the actual structure around that. So the programs, the scholarships that are available, and those things. So Seraphima, you were one of our first official super hosts, and then into the fellowship. Would you talk about, you are such a inspirational, step up, do great things person. Would you talk about what that's been like for you as a student leader within the program, and now as a graduate of the program, as a fellow, helping to lead and inspire others?
Totally. I feel like I could talk about this forever, so I'll be brief. But I really wanted to be a fellow because I saw I got a lot of help from the other upper levels who were helping me out. And the other students who'd come before and had done some leadership positions, they helped me out immensely. And it was so fun to be able to connect with them and form these relationships around a project that you were working on, because they showed that they were invested in what I was doing, just by caring and helping me come to terms with how do I go about navigating this or that. So it just really enforced this community, the community of belonging, students helping other students. But then being able to be a fellow and walk through the steps with other people again, it just feels so validating, because it's wow, this is something that I actually know, this is something I can be really proud of, is being able to help these people and work together and learning together. But particularly the scholarship is like makes such a huge impact on my life. I probably wouldn't be able to be a student leader if I didn't receive a scholarship. And what I think is so amazing about the scholarship is that you can receive it in different forms. So like if I needed credit, like that would be awesome, but I really don't need more credit. So being able to receive it as a reduction to my tuition is amazing. Or if I didn't have that, I would have to be working another job. So
Yeah.
It's like so amazing. I really so appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome, Serafima. I totally agree. The opportunities working with the Entrepreneurship and Innovation program as an academic program assistant have been so awesome. It feels like really integrative and inspiring to be able to work on initiatives that feel so so impactful and so that I'm so passionate about, while also being able to bring forward my skills and abilities to support the program as an employee. So that feels really awesome to be able to bring just like my sparks and my skills and abilities into a space where they're really appreciated, as well as be able to innovate and grow those skills and abilities to apply them in different ways. For example, in the future, doing our global programming and recruiting and engagement for that, working towards building marketing materials through graphic design work, or implementing my own sort of structure for an info session for a global program. It felt really empowering to have the sort of autonomy to bring my ideas to life, to support the program, and to see that take effect has been really awesome.
I so hear that, especially the part about it being empowering. Like, I feel like when people leave the program, they're like, oh man, I don't want to leave. Like, I'm going to miss this community a lot. But then to know that you can come back to the community and that you're being like brought up to be someone who can be in this role. Does that make sense? Like, you're respected and appreciated enough that like as soon as you graduate, you can come back and like do what you love to do. Mm-hmm. It's just like this room for growth that feels really sincere. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, like, sure, congrats, like you finished, but to be like, please come back and like do more with us, like, and that's just like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I didn't mention, but I'm still in the program as a student. So it's really awesome to have this connection formed, and I'm really excited for growth in the future as well.
Awesome. Art, would you describe our 6-level minor and how student leadership fits into that whole program, as we think about our long-term relationship and commitment with students and community? Oh.
So I got it. So we've really adopted a model that in grade school would be called a multi-age classroom. And in fact, it was all inspired because the kids went to this really awesome grade school where these 3 amazing teachers did this multi-age classroom. And I remember walking in. I volunteered during my son's time there for 6 straight years every Friday. And I remember walking in, and there's my kid sitting at a table with 3 other students, and he was like a 1st grader, and here's the 2nd grader and these 2 3rd graders teaching him how to do whatever he was doing. And I'm like, wow, it's super powerful. The teacher was over there in the corner doing something or another, but the students were empowering other students. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then I got to know that system. And when I got to Western, I said, well, we're starting from scratch, so why don't we build something that's super amazing and really, really next level impactful? And so what we did was we built this, what we now call Cascading Mentorship. That term was built by another faculty member at Western. But there's this idea that we have multiple levels within the program. There's actually 6 levels in this program. So each level represents an experience level that is tied to a quarter. So there's 6 quarters in the program, there's 6 levels. And the whole idea is as students move through the program, they accumulate knowledge, skills, abilities, mindsets, attitudes that then they can cascade back to the other folks. Because every Monday and every Wednesday for the last 6 years, at between 4 and 6 o'clock, this community of students and other leaders shows up, and on day one, all but the first level of students knows each other because they've spent this time together. And that's such a different experience for students and for faculty, because I don't have to recreate, Meg doesn't have to recreate, none of the teachers need to recreate the culture every quarter. The culture perpetuates itself, and it's actually perpetuated by the students. And as we have progressed further, we used to use a model with all, kind of grown up entrepreneurs or teachers or whatever. And we've shifted now to a primary instructor or two, and then these teaching fellows who are either in the program or have graduated the program or have graduated Western, that are really responsible for helping make that cascading mentorship happen. And we have coaching programs, peer-to-peer coaching programs within each of the different between levels. We have the different levels work together. And so again, to be really clear, what we have is 6 levels of students that are all in the same physical space or virtual space together over their entire program. And so it's just a really powerful model of learning that is atypical to the traditional university setting, but really espousing and enabling the things that we talk about a lot at the university, which is how do we really engage students? How do we get students to lead their own learning? How do we get students to help with their peers in a way that helps them all move forward?
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about we use the terms in our program, boldest hope. So boldest hope is that thing which we can very vividly imagine and act upon. And so let's talk about that boldest hope that we have for the next year in terms of our student leadership and cultural belonging.
I'll go first. So my boldest hope is to empower and co-inspire my student peers to reach towards their goals and dreams. Where I'm at in the entrepreneurship and innovation minor right now is at the E4 level, wherein students start their own venture that they continue to work on over the next 3 quarters through their graduation from the minor program. So I'm at this really interesting place now with the members of my cohort where we have our ideas and we're looking ahead to bring them to life. And so over the next year, as we do that, I really hope to be sort of a lighthouse of inspiration and empowerment, so that and feedback to be able to bring those visions to life through the actionable steps and through the conversations to materialize them.
Awesome, thank you. Mm-hmm. How about for you, Serafima?
Yeah, Ida, that was really eloquently said. I'm not sure mine is going to be so majestic, but I will try. My boldest hope for the program in 1 year is that students who are not necessarily part of our community look upon our community as one where change is made, and if you know someone who's in that class, you're like, oh, they're an entrepreneurship student, that makes sense, they I want to develop those skills too. I want to find my well-being and I want to harness my sparks, and that language takes itself beyond our community into our bigger Western community, because I think it's all really valuable things that any college person or any aged person could be exploring. So that would be my goal. For my boldest hope would be that the program gets a little bit more known among the students and out there, and people are talking about it and using our language. If I were to walk across campus and I were to hear someone be like, oh dude, yeah, that class totally fit in with my spark, I'd be like,
That's awesome. How about for you, Dr. S?
This is boldest hope over the next year?
Over the next year,
Okay, yeah. So my boldest hope over the next year for student leadership and a culture of belonging really is that um, the vision that we've had for student leadership and empowerment and really driving how we are in our programs comes to full fruition, and that we are not only is it working or is it viable, but it's sustainable, because what we've been able to do is find and apply the resources necessary to make it all work. And that is very similar for the culture of belonging, because my boldest hope related to our culture of belonging is that we continue to build a system of access points that continues to grow, is scalable, where people who would naturally be drawn to entrepreneurship and innovation, they've already found us. They're starting to find the places that they can access it, but that we continue to expand those access points so that ultimately everyone can really see themselves as a change maker, entrepreneur, and innovator. Because truly, this is a ubiquitous set of skills, knowledge and attitudes that really will help people be successful at making impact across their entire lives.
Awesome. Yeah, for me too, my boldest hope over the course of the next year is really that we can scale and establish consistency in our offerings within the community and in the resources that we can apply to these opportunities for students, so that we can have scholarship opportunities for students that wish to lead, so that we can help to support their amazing efforts into our community, and that we continue to be able to grow and scale that impact, both in executive education as well as throughout the university. So that sustainable, viable offering is something that I very much am super interested in us seeking to continue to work on this year. How about 5 years from now? Art, why don't we start out with you?
Yeah, for sure. My boldest hope for our entrepreneurship and innovation programs over 5 years from now, just I can imagine that we're in a place where our programs have worked so well that they have scaled up to where hundreds, if not thousands, of people on our campus have meaningful participation within our programs, and that spills over into our local community, where our local community members are able to have meaningful participation, that we start to make regional connections in ways that we're meaningfully participating not only in our offerings, but we're actually engaged in partnerships with people across the region, across the nation, and across the globe. All of those sparks are in place now, and if we continue to invest our time, our attention, our money, our energy into those, there's no doubt in my mind that we can make that 5-year vision come true.
Awesome. How about for you, Ida?
Yeah, very similar to what Art said. I feel that within 5 years, my boldest hope is personally to continue facilitating self-empowered action for students in our community, and to bring that out into the world. So, being able to have the necessary resources accessible to feel empowered, to reach out to, other business leaders in the community or entrepreneurs in the community, to create a network of not only connections in an entrepreneurial aspect, but also as a means of solidarity moving forward, building this global community of people who have the initiative to make change, I think is extremely powerful, and what I'd love to see.
Awesome.
Mine was, again, similar to that, but a little different, but very similar. My idea for 5 years, my boldest hope would be for people who exit our program, like, carry that touchstone of, like, oh yes, I went through Western's Entrepreneurship and Innovation program. Like, I was impacted by it in some way. And then as they go forward, the Cascading Mentorship continues even into like professional entrepreneurial settings, like feeling inspired in the classroom continues to feeling inspired from like starting a venture to seeing it through to celebrating a venture. Like in all those ways, like I would carry my touchstone of entrepreneurship through, and I would still like be in touch and connect and be able to like rejoice about these things that we're doing together with different people and who've completed the program or been impacted by it in some way.
I love that that point to joy. And I heard, Ida, from you, you know, the lighthouse and things like that. And for me, I have so many like boldest hopes and knowledge points, but I would say that joy and resilience and skill that we grow together in community is so powerful. And so my boldest hope is that we would be a lighthouse in Western and without the, you know, throughout the community as well, where people learned very practical skills that they could apply over and over again in life, wherever they encountered us, you know, whether that was through a 30-minute, you know, pop-up talk that they had a couple of key takeaways, or whether it's through participating in the minor and then as a fellow, but that we were able to keep connecting people with tools and resources that built their abilities and their self-definition and pride over what it means to be an entrepreneur and innovator. And that the interpretation in our community of the words entrepreneur and innovator could be radically adjusted to include much more. Within our program, Dr. S, you know, works a lot on the concept of Perma Plus and joy and what we call idea grit, but that this idea of the suffering of the entrepreneur is like busted apart, and that we teach ever more skill and resilience and iteration and testing, and we're just able to really be that place and that comfort and that coming home opportunity for folks.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Meg.
We spend a Friday afternoon being inspired about what we do. It's kind of fun.
Right.
So we did this thing this quarter where we challenged all of our students and our community to come up with 3 words that represented their primary sparks as a way to incubate and ignite connection. So why don't we close our precious time together out with those 3 sparks, if you don't mind. Ida, can I start out with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my 3 sparks are joy, community, and dance. I love using dance too, not only in like its literal sense that I enjoy movement, but also dancing through life as a means of like playing and exploring, and being able to move through the different triumphs and trials in a way that feels good for us in our bodies and in whole too.
Cool, thank you.
Nice.
How about for you, Art?
My sparks would be flourish, engagement, and meaning. And, you know, all of those on a field of relationships. Because I really think, you know, relationships become the true glue that allows for all of that to happen.
Thank you. And for you, Seraphima?
I would say that my 3 sparks are culture, inspiration, and empowerment. Culture, because I feel like everyone brings with them to the table something, whatever culture that is, whether it's literally like another culture or something else that they've gone through. Empowerment, because anyone can do anything. And inspiration, because, you know, in like this conversation, like I'm already inspired. I like really want to go do, I know exactly what I'm going to do after I finish this call. And like, that's how I feel after class. And that like spark, I feel like, is what keeps me going and makes me excited to keep waking up.
Awesome, thanks. For me, they're joy, entrepreneur, and belonging. And I'm so passionate about the word entrepreneur taking on the true and multifaceted meaning that it does, and that we have agency, ability, and like imperative to work with each other on creating a bold new vision for the world around us, and that there's nothing wrong with money being related to that. So I just have this, just a huge spark for us, just like totally crashing through the idea of the traditional notion of the entrepreneur and giving it its full and rich and joyful meaning. So thank you all so much for this. It was such a gift on a sunny Friday.
Super.